Welcome to Storytime with Nonna. I'm Nonna, and Nonna in Italian means grandma. That's what all my special friends call me, and I'd like for you to call me that too. Today, we're celebrating Christmas again. We're in our Christmas season, and we're just excited to spend time with family and friends and just do special things, traditions that our family has. Our family, we have a large seafood dinner, 13 different fish dishes on Christmas Eve. That's one of our traditions. Can you tell me about some of your traditions in the comments section below? I'd love to hear about them and maybe try them out myself. But today we're going to have a wonderful book, a classic book called Horton Hatches the Egg. And of course it's by Dr. Seuss and illustrated by Dr. Seuss. These are wonderful books, and I'm sure that many of you are probably familiar with them. Let's get started. Horton Hatches the Egg. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired and I'm bored, and I've got kinks in my leg from just sitting here day after day. It's work, how I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for a rest. If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. Then Horton the elephant passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on my egg in my nest? The elephant laughed. Why, of all silly things, I haven't feathers and I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Why, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, ma'am, and I'm so immense. Tut tut, answered Maisie. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it. No trouble at all. Just sit here softly. You're kind and gentle. Come on, be a good fellow. I know you won't mind. I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed. Very well, said the elephant. Since you insist. You want a vacation. Go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang Maisie as she fluttered away. First thing to do, muttered Horton. Let's see. The first thing to do is to prop up this tree and make it much stronger. This has to be done. Before I get on it, I must weigh a ton. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton smiled. Now that's that. And he sat, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat. I wish she'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and I'm wet. And I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. But Maisie, by this time, was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. Oh no! So Horton kept sitting there day after day, and so it was autumn. The leaves blew away. And then came the winter, the snow and the sleet, the icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting and with a sneeze said, I'll stay on this egg and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. Good for you, Horton. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came to springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round and they shouted with glee, "Look, Horton the elephant's up in a tree!" They taunted, they teased him, they yelled, "How absurd! Old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird." They laughed and they laughed, then they all ran away. And Horton was lonely and wanted to play. But he sat on the egg and continued to say, "I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended. But poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. So while Horton sat there, so faithful, so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up softly behind. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight to his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high and he threw out his chest and looked at the hunters as much as to say, "Shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. But the men didn't shoot. Much to Horton's surprise, they dropped their 3 guns and stared with wide eyes. "Look!" they all shouted. "Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree. It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful, new. Don't shoot him, we'll catch him. That's just what we'll do. Let's take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to a circus for money." And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and put it inside, with Horton so sad he practically cried. "We're off," the men shouted, and off they went, with Horton unhappy, 100%. Up out of jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountains, 10,000 feet high. Then down, down the mountains, and down to the sea went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon and onto a ship, out over the ocean, and oh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashing the spray. And Horton said day after day after day, "I said what I meant and but oh, I am seasick, 100%. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, he landed at last in the town of New York. "All ashore," the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, sitting on his perch. Tied on a board that just could barely hold him, bump, Horton landed, and then the men sold him. " sold to a circus. Then week after week they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington too, to Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in a tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the farther he went, but he said as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, "I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. Then one day the circus happened to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach, and dawdling along way up in the sky, who of all people should chance to fly by but that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation and still just as lazy. And spying the flags in the tent just below, she sang out, "What fun! Why, I'll go to the show." And she swooped from the clouds through the open tent door. "Good gracious," gasped Maisie, "I've seen you before." Poor Horton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest, ear-splitting squeaks from the egg that he'd sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild, alive scratching. "My egg!" shouted Horton. "My egg! Why, it's hatching!" "But it's mine!" screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done, now she wanted it back. "It's my egg!" she sputtered. "You stole it from me! Get off of my nest and get out of my tree!" Poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. But at that very instant, the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell from the egg that he'd sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, "What's all this about?" They looked and they stared with their eyes popping out. They cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They'd never seen anything like it before. "My goodness, my gracious," they shouted, "my word, it has something brand new. It's an elephant bird." And it should be like that, because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And they sent him home happy, 100%. I've always liked that book very, very much. It's good to be faithful and to live up to your word. So thank you for joining me for Story Time with Nonna. We'll have an exciting book next week, and I hope to see you back then. Bye-bye.